Brought to you by Mercury, #1 on the water. Bombardier, makers of Sea-Doo personal watercraft.
Welcome to Powerboat Television. Mark's up first with the real story about cat and tunnel hulls, the design challenges in building them fast and safe.
Performance, brought to you by Mercury, #1 on the water.
In man's pursuit of speed across water, powerboat builders throughout the world combine theory with experience to bring us faster, safer, and better handling boats. Watching a present-day offshore catamaran or a Formula One tunnel boat like this one fly effortlessly across the water at over 140 miles an hour, rarely would one consider the early designers who brought forward their creations, or the trial and error testing by passionate drivers who competed in what arguably has been deemed the most dangerous sport in the world. It's known as a blowover, the point of no return when a high-speed tunnel boat lifts off the water's surface and literally blows over backward. Be it the result of a driver error or the inherent instability of the design itself, tunnel boats, particularly lightweight racing models, are prone to packing more air between the sponsons than they can safely accommodate. This sequence shows me blowing over my Formula One Mercury factory boat back in 1979. Having been there on several occasions, I can tell you it is not a pleasant experience. But for those of us who live for thrills without spills, and for the sensational ride that a pleasure catamaran delivers, let it be known that modern-day tunnel boats have come a long, long way. Through designer knowledge, engineering improvements, and technical innovation, boats that once rode on the thin edge of the wedge now routinely and safely skim across the water's surface at extremely high speeds. Still, the experimental nature of the design cannot be taken for granted. Now widely accepted for pleasure boat use, boat builders are constantly challenged with balancing speed and stability. Their task is not a simple one, as author Jim Russell reveals in his latest book, Secrets of Tunnel Boat Design.
The Secrets of Tunnel Boat Design book starts with the historical development of where tunnel boats came from, what's important in the development of tunnel boat design over the course of 100 years or so, and then presents the engineering aspects of what it takes to design a good performing tunnel boat. One of the biggest parts of the research that we did, and the neatest thing about tunnel boats, is that you can actually control the amount of lift that a tunnel boat gets by the design of the tunnel itself. The tunnel boat is really flying like an airplane in what the aerodynamics world calls ground effect. The closer that wing of the tunnel boat gets to the water, the bigger the lift is that it gets, and it's quite a dramatic difference. As it gets very, very close, you can double the lift that the tunnel hull will see. One of the greatest things about a tunnel boat, and certainly one of the greatest feelings of driving a tunnel boat, is the unbelievable handling characteristics. Smaller tunnel boats, like racing Formula One tunnel hulls, have very low center of gravities and very sharp keels along the insides of the sponsons. And they literally turn as though they're on railroad tracks and can make turns 180 degrees at 130 miles an hour. Offshore boats, when they're turning, will have a tendency to lean during cornering. And the main reasons is a higher center of gravity, a higher design of boat, and a different sponson design that is more comfortable in heavy seas.
Offshore competition, like Formula One tunnel boat racing, is now dominated by catamaran designs. Though longer, heavier, and more reliant on big horsepower applications, cats rely on the same hydrodynamic and aerodynamic principles as their smaller, lighter cousins. Less friction on the water means higher speed, as Mercury Racing's Fred Kiekafer explains.
The hydrodynamics in days gone by, in the years that I cut my teeth, were the dominant factor. Much more today, aerodynamics plays a bigger and bigger role. There's a lot of debate about the width of the tunnel, because the tunnel actually is an air entrapment tool. It's shaped a little like an airfoil. Its real purpose, though, is to pack air between the verticals of the individual hull pieces, because that packing of air creates a surface effect that effectively lightens the boat and lifts it out of the water so it can run quicker. The decks themselves don't have a lot of aerodynamic impact. It's a balance of the tunnel against the deck surface to create just the right amount of lift and packing. They really act an awful lot like an oversized tunnel boat. The Formula One type tunnel boat does the same thing, but it does it in a 16-foot length instead of a 46-foot length. These things will tolerate a little bit more because of their size and mass. But when it gets choppy out there, if you don't have a good man at the trim controls, the boats can get out of shape quickly. And you'll see a well-trimmed skater running at speed runs very level, very true. A less experienced driver, you'll often see a little more excitement in the way he runs the boat.
As one gains more insight into the dynamics of tunnel hull design, the more it becomes apparent that building a fast, safe, and stable boat is really a matter of science. Understanding the orientation of forces upon a tunnel hull is important. And whether you're a builder or a driver, knowledge is a wonderful thing. We'll see you next time.
Powerboat Television has been brought to you by Mercury, #1 on the water. Bombardier, makers of Sea-Doo personal watercraft. And by the Onboard Pleasure Craft Operator Card Study Guide and Test. Get on board. Available at Canadian Tire.